Pleasant good afternoon, everyone. Yes, just want to welcome you to this, our second town hall meeting, the PDM's second town hall meeting. I think my mic is off. Okay, then. Let me start over. Welcome to everyone to the PDM's second town hall meeting. I really want to show my appreciation for taking out your time from your busy schedule to be here. And I do hope that we'll have a real interactive session this evening. First of all, let me just say that this session is being streamed live. And in order for us to capture what you're saying when you have a question or comment, I would like you to use the microphone right in the passage, please. And that way, we'll be able to hear what you're saying. At least those on the stream will hear what you're asking and what we are answering or what you're suggesting to us. And that would work very well. This afternoon, let me introduce the head table. We have Shirley Osborne. Everybody know Shirley Osborne? We have Glenville Daly. Everybody know Glenn? We have Honorable David Osborne. Everybody know Mundu? Yes. And of course, we do have a number of members who are off island at the moment. One was trying to get in for today. And you all know we have not the best of access situation right now. So that person who did not make it for today would make it for tomorrow, which is not going to be in time for today. And we have two others one went off island to do some business. So that would have been 7 members that you would have seen here this afternoon. But because of access issues and in some cases, one went off to do some business. And of course, yours truly, Paul Lewis. This afternoon, we want this session to be an interactive session. I know that we do have a lot of issues, and there's no way that we'll be able to cover all the issues this evening. Also, I also know that you may come up with about 20 issues or more this evening. What I'd like us to do after we come up with the issues, because no political party, no government, if you're realistic, will be able to actually address all the issues at the same time. So what we like to do to make it practical and realistic, if we could try our best to somewhat rank the importance of the issues to the audience. That way we'll have an idea that out of 20, this might be a top 10 and this might be a top 5. So we would know, well, if you have, well, not if, but you do have a limitation in the amount of funds available, then we'll know which issues require funding and which issues probably require a change of legislation or change in policy. So we'll know just how to rank these issues so that at the end of the day, when we formulate program and policies, there always be a reflection of what you the people want and not what the politicians want. Because many times the politicians would come and say they're going to do X, Y, Z, a million things, but maybe only 1 or 2 would actually benefit you. So we want to hear from you, so that we can incorporate your ideas, your recommendations, and learn a little bit more about your issues. So this afternoon, I would like to start with a burning issue. I don't know if it's affecting everyone, but I know it's affecting most persons. And that is the cost of living. The cost of living, it is an issue not only in Montserrat, in other islands, but somehow in Montserrat, I think we might be feeling it the hardest. We have been plagued with a number of issues that are actually complicating the cost of living. Because it seems like every day we go into the supermarket, the cost has risen, and inflation just keeps getting higher and higher and higher. I had the opportunity to sit with my colleagues, and we have been doing some brainstorming as to some of the ways that we can apply, or some of the things, or procedures or processes that we can apply to try and help you cope with the cost of living. Note I said to try and help you cope with the cost of living. And I'm going to mention a few of them today. But I don't want you to take my word for it and think that because I say that's it or that's all that can be done. If I say something and you think you can enhance it, I want you to use the opportunity to enhance it. And if I say a few things and you see that I haven't said all that could be said, I want you to add to it. In terms of the cost of living, one of the areas we looked at, and I must say, I must give some credit to the present government for having the same idea. However, where my disappointment is that they did not execute well. it was poorly executed. And I'm referring to the fact that everybody knows that we are an island that is heavily taxed. We are really heavily taxed. And I tell you to the point where the government over the last 3 years, they were able to boast that they have surplus, 2 million, 3 million, 5 million, etc. Which government can have all that surplus at a time when the people are crying out that they need help and we are too heavily taxed? So you know where the surplus is coming from, right? The government raised most of its revenues from income taxes, and that's the personal income taxes, and of course from the duties and consumption taxes at the port. It means that when you have surpluses, that the government would have made a projection as to what it intends to raise, but surplus means it raised over and above. And at a time when we are crying out for the cost of living, the government over the last 3 years was able to come and boast that they raised surplus. So that, however, gives us a justification that there is some fiscal space to allow us to look at the rate of the custom duties and to look at the level at which our income tax is presently. I don't know if you all would remember that last year, the government would have indicated that they made an attempt to adjust the salary levels, the lower ends of the civil servants' salary levels. And what they said or came up with is that no government worker would get paid any less than $2,000. In other words, they would be paid, all would be paid at least above $2,000. That technically is an official minimum wage. What that means is that $2,000 per month is $24,000 per year. Technically, unofficially, a minimum wage. The government the other day announced that they're moving the tax-free threshold, which was $15,000, to $18,000. And for those of you who are very good at calculating, you realize that there's still $6,000 out of that $24,000 that will be taxed. I am putting it to the government, and I put it to the government that it is unethical to be taxing people who you consider in the minimum wage bracket. Therefore, I do not believe that you should be taxing people on the first $2,000 per month or the first $24,000 of the year. So I believe that the first thing that should really be done, they should revisit it and move the tax-free threshold from $18,000 to $24,000. That way, if you fall within the bracket, your salary or wages are anywhere between $2,000 and less, you will not be taxed. But once you go over that, then they will start taxing you. Of course, they have made it clear that they're looking at the tax bands as well. I can't speak to that because they themselves can't speak to that because that has not been done as yet. But at least I could speak to the fact that there's a tax threshold, and with the minimum wage, it means that people in the minimum wage bracket is still being taxed, and that should not be so. One of the other things we have been looking at, we have looked at, well, we are unofficially looking at it because we're not the government. So we unofficially look at ways and means of how we can reduce some of the duties. And I just want to say that we are responsible people, and we will not come here and tell you that we could remove all the duties. Anybody tell you that, they are stark mad. So what we are saying is that for those of you who go to the supermarket, you'll notice Nido. Nido, that's the basic you get for a baby, and you're seeing it for 100 and something, 80 something, 70 something dollars. We are saying that basic items like Nido and other basic food items and clothes, that the government has that fiscal space where it should be able to reduce the duties on those items, right? One of the areas we have looked at, I don't know if you all should have experienced it. You notice that we do import gown provisions from Dominica at the boat. And you would just think that if you go and you support a local farmer, that you will think that you'll get it cheaper. But that is not always the case. What we are saying, we are committed to provide subsidies, and we know the present government provides subsidies. Maybe they're not providing enough subsidies, maybe they're not working the program efficiently enough, I do not know. However, we believe that when if government have a proper program and have adequate subsidies to farmers to increase the production of farming produce here in Montserrat, that we should be seeing the benefits. The consumers should be seeing the benefits. That way, we are saying if our products are good and our farmers are selling for less than the boat, of course, we'll support our farmers and we don't need to support the boat. So that way, it would help us in terms of keeping more money in our pocket or having a little bit more to spend to get the goods that we need. So that's just a few of the things that we've been looking at, and I'll want to open the floor to any other member of the, but I need to get this, we're going to need a mic for the head table for at least 2 members. You don't have a mic? Okay, I'll try to stress this one. Yes. If any other member of the floor want to speak on that topic, you could come to the mic.
Good day to everyone. Can you hear me clearly? Good, good. First of all, thank you for coming out today, Mike Kiner. I want you to hear me clearly. Right, so I have my notes because so much of people have been contacting me, and I have to write my notes so that I could actually present. Because the best way to represent people is actually to go to them, speak to them, find out their needs and concern. Because I can't say that I'm a politician because I never really wanted to be affiliated too much with politicians. But every now and then we have to actually come out and represent and help our people. Because it's people first, and as you can see, PDM stands for people first, and you have to put people first, and my number one responsibility is for the people and not necessarily for the government. But town hall meetings are very important. It is important that we have town hall meetings so that we can discuss matters, so we can, talk, get the ideas from people, and so forth. And when you really think about a politician's job is to represent people. And if in case the politician is going to represent people, they have to go to people, get the information from the people, and present themselves, go into LegCo, go into cabinet or whatever, and fix the issues for the people. Because at the end of the day, the people are who hire you. And if people hire you, that means you need to represent the people. And I made sure that I told the team, I do not want a team that start meetings now and then do not continue to have meetings. It is important to continue to have meetings, get members, understand what's happening with people in Montserrat. And I said to Shirley that I need to see at least 1,000 members. And the number might sound high, but I'm just being realistic because we need to have people. I don't feel that 9 persons is enough to really make Montserrat a better place, personally. I believe that we need as much people. We need to put our heads together. Iceman is a very vocal man. Many ideas, and I've heard his cry. And at the end of the day, we need to listen and try to fix matters. And I know everybody here, so I'm extremely comfortable speaking to you and whoever is listening to us. So we're speaking about cost of living and making things easier. Pass that book for me. But a lot of people don't know. And I worked in customs for many years. And when I worked in customs, I could say straight, they did not want us to tell the people about the exemptions. They said straight up, don't tell them, let them ask you. So people were not supposed to be told what exemptions are there for them. And we always used to wonder when we were there, why should we not tell people what exemptions are there for them? And I'm not going to call no name because, you get sued and so forth. But at the end of the day, if in case there are exemptions for people, we should give it to them. And in customs, you have SRNO 41 and 42. I don't know if anybody here know about SRNO 41 and 42. Anybody knows it? Right. Well, SRNO 41 and 42 is from 2011. And it's basically saying that if in case somebody is sending something to you, you can claim up to $500. So for example, something costs $1,500. They will take off $500 and you pay $1,000. Now, the politician's job, as I said, is to represent the people, make laws, policies, and so forth. But at the end of the day, We're talking about a law that is since 2011. And we're talking about inflation. That means $500 would possibly mean 1,000. So all of these laws need to be changed, and changed as quickly as possible. Because if in case you change this law and you're able to bring in your foodstuff and your clothing, that itself would decrease your costs, and therefore life would be much easier for you. I see some people on Facebook complaining, and they say they're bringing their shoes for their child and it costs them this amount of money. And at the end of the day, we have to educate the people to let people understand that these exemptions are there for them. So I'm saying that the new government, or maybe the government that is listening to me now, they will take this opportunity and fix the issue. And if in case they don't know, they could even ask questions, because it benefits the people of Montserrat. Anything that benefits the people of Montserrat, that is all I really care about. Now, there are many other exemptions that could actually help with the cost of living. And I will move to an exemption. For example, let me just go into this order. There's an exemption for people who are building buildings. And the exemption is 45 of 2020. Now, this exemption is a kind of weird exemption, because this exemption speaks about people who want to build houses and the value exceeds 300,000 US dollars. Now, if in case that we want people to build in Montserrat, these kind of exemptions would not benefit the people of Montserrat. And you shouldn't be making laws that say US dollars, because we're in an ISI country. So why would you make laws that say 300,000 US dollars? That is 800 and something thousand ISI dollars. So if in case that we're going to really give exemptions to people to encourage them to actually do things to make their life easier, to increase, because we know that construction is one of the main things that keep the economy going, then we have to think about changing these laws to make it a lower value. And we have to remove the whole factor that you cannot live in your house. You could only rent the place or sell the place to get this exemption. So there are many things that we need to do to actually help our people of Montserrat to reduce taxes and make things easier for them. When it comes to food security, I cannot believe that we still have issues with food security. And when you go on the internet, you have one person who have a farm in Africa who could feed the whole of Montserrat. So something is definitely wrong with food security in Montserrat, and we need to get that fixed as quickly as possible. I personally have gone to farmers to find out their needs. And most of the farmers are saying to me, what they really want is some assistance when it comes to lands. They want lands so that they could do the farming. To me, the farmers are not really asking for much. They basically want some lands so that they could actually do farming. And when they get the farming done, it would be easier for the people of Montserrat to buy food cheaper. Because sometimes you might figure a farmer is selling things expensive. But the reason why the farmer is selling things expensive is because the farmer is operating on a small scale. And if in case you're operating on a small scale, then at the end of the day, everything must be expensive. And then we go down to the ferry. Of course, the ferry is very important. And everybody wants a ferry. Everybody wants access. They want a ferry. Some people want the plane. People like me want the plane because I can't really handle the ferry. But at the end of the day, people want the ferry, and we have to bring the ferry and use the ferry to make money for the country. The same farmers who have plenty of food, when we have so much food in Montserrat, they could actually take these items and ship them to other countries. Because people were telling me that they have contracts with companies in Antigua. But because the ferry is not running, they are not able to provide the services. So when it comes to cost of living, there are many things that we can do. Of course, the Honorable Paul spoke about the tax threshold, and of course, 24,000 would be a more reasonable number, because nobody is supposed to be paying taxes on $2,000, basically. But that's what I have for now in terms of cost of living. We have to try and help the people, because the people need help, and when the people speak and say they are struggling, I've spoken to people, as I say, who only eat once a day. And when people are eating once a day, we have to really go out there and help them. I alone cannot help people. I try my best to help people. But at the end of the day, I cannot help everybody, because I have to help my own self and my family. So we have to put things in place to help our people. So that is it for me for now.
Thank you, Glenn. Thank you for your input. We're going to ask Shirley Osborne to come to the microphone at this time.
Okay. It's been 2 months, so I can kind of move the leg. It's not as bad as it was before. That better? All right. So good evening, everybody, and thank you for coming, all of you. We started late. I was late, sorry. And it wasn't because it's a woman. I actually had to wait for a man to drive me. And I'm going to have a conversation with Glenn. Glenn come from St. Peter's and has a problem with the sea. I don't get it. So we have to talk. Everybody from St. Peter's is a seaman, a seawoman. Okay, Glenn, we need to fix that. So, for me, what we're talking about this year is Montserrat on a different level than we've ever been. And like I keep telling the group, and we call ourselves the workforce. Those of you who haven't heard it before, we're not just a team of people working together, hanging out together, talking together. We consider ourselves the workforce that Montserrat needs. We have declared that we're here to work to fix Montserrat. The fact of the matter is that a lot of things that need to happen with governments, in societies, in communities, often don't get done simply because, mostly because there are people who wait for other people to do things. We have declared that PDM is not going to wait. And when we say PDM, we mean us and you. So fixing Montserrat is not going to be just on us up here, the 9 of us who you hear about eventually. It's going to be all of us. We're going to be coming to you to work, which is why we're here, which is why we're doing these conversations, because we are not here, like Paul said, to tell you what we want to do. We are here to discuss with you what Montserrat needs, agree on what Montserrat needs, and then ask you the question, okay, so what are you going to do? What I am doing is I am working with this group here. We're putting together all of the things that we think we need to be talking with you about. We are coming to you. We have decided, we know what things we are good at. We know what we can offer to Montserrat. We know what we bring. And so we are coming to you and saying, this is who I am. This is what I do. What you do. What you want to do. Because there are 2 things also. Actually, now I say that. There are 2 things. What you can do and what you want to do. And the reality is that a lot of people are doing things just because they have to. The public service is a perfect example. One of the things that has to be done when we get into office is we have to fix the public service. Because when people are doing what they really enjoy doing, you don't have to ask them to come to work. You don't have to ask them to work late. You don't have to ask them to do good work. So as you're building Montserrat, what we need is people who enjoy what they're doing, people who are in the positions that they want to be in, that they really enjoy being in, so they do the work. So let me ask you some questions. You don't have to answer them now. But the first question, but you're going to answer them for me eventually. We have 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, 8 months. However much time we have, I want you to answer these questions for me before that. I'm going to meet you individually and I'm going to find out. What does Montserrat need? What does Montserrat need right now? We know the usual things, access, the ferry, the plane, the hospital, we know that. But before that, beyond that, deeper than that, what does Montserrat need? Because we all know you have the best ferry in the world, traveling every hour. You have the best hospital in the world, providing the best help, the best health care. If the people not happy, if the people not available, the people not working, you don't have a country. You can have the nicest port in the entire universe. You can have the marina that I dream of, with sailboats coming and going. If you don't have the people, if the people are not with you, if people are not ready, if people are not engaged, you don't have a country. Right? So if we're talking on an economic level, the first thing that Montserrat needs is to get out of granting aid. Right or wrong? We need to get Montserrat out of granting aid. We need to be in a place where we are self-sufficient in all the basics, or have the money to buy the things we can't produce. In order to do that, we need a population that's working. In order to have a population that's working, you need to have healthy people. So the white rice and the white sugar and the macaroni and the ramen noodles, no. Literally, it's breadfruit and potatoes and dashing and lettuce and cabbage. Healthy food for healthy people. Montserrat has one of the highest incidences of diabetes, high blood pressure, stroke. You can't build a country with sick people. You can't. Exactly. You're not going to be making any money. You're going to be losing money in your own pocket, and the country going to be losing money because when you don't show up to work, the business not working, government not working. All right? So it is incumbent upon us to keep healthy. Now, I too love food. Me just eat. I don't look like it maybe, but I eat well. I eat well. And I don't skimp on ice cream and pizza and so on. But you know what I do? I exercise. And I don't eat pizza every day. And I don't eat ice cream every day. Right? So you can keep healthy and still have fun. We need to do that in Montserrat. The other question I have for you is, depending on what Montserrat needs, you answer the question, what does Montserrat need? And who can provide it? Who can best provide that? Those things that Montserrat needs. England? You really think so? The British people? Have they done it so far? Answer me somebody, yes or no? Don't be afraid, me not tell nobody what you say. And I say it all the time, they have not. They have not, and they're not going to. And one of the reasons that they couldn't, even if they wanted to, is because in many instances we're not even clear what we want. Today I want this, I want that, we want the port here, I want the port there, I want the hospital, I want this, all over the place. So what Montserrat needs is a vision. A vision that everybody can see, can understand, can see the timeline on it, and can see how we participate in it, how we can be part of it, how we can serve it, how it can serve us. So when I think about money, for example, the British government gives us what, 160, 170, 110, 120 million dollars a year. Well, our budget is 100 and something million dollars a year, 150, 160. They give us 100, 110, 100, and then they take back or they don't take back. You can't buy this, you can't buy that. All kinds of restrictions. We want to live so? You all know my father, right? My father was, let me give you an example. I was going to secondary school. One time I went to my father and I said, I need a pair of shoes, please, Daddy. And he said, show me how much shoes you got already. And I said, well, I said, okay, when I come out, because you're always buying shoes, you always got shoes. When I come out this afternoon, I'm going to look, I'm going to count your shoes. So, of course, I go home and hide all the shoes except about 3 pairs. Okay? I say that to say, if you want something, you have to know where to ask and know how to get it. If I let my father come and see all the shoes I'd save my pocket change to buy, but he never got a new pair of shoes. 1. 2, if I couldn't tell him what I wanted the shoes for. As it turns out, that particular time was to go to a farm party. We used to have half-term parties at school. And I wanted a pair of shoes to wear to the party. I made the case, and I got the shoes from Bata. Cost me maybe $19 or something. So nice pair of shoes, black and white, I remember. But I explained to him that everybody go at the party. Mommy said I could go. I have this dress that I made, and I have to have the shoes to fit, have the shoes to match. And he told me, okay. And for $19.95, he gave me $20, exactly. Okay? So if we want a country that represents us, we have to answer the question, what does Montserrat need? What do we need to create the Montserrat that we want, and how to get it? And it's not only the British government can give it to us. I want you guys to understand that. When we talk about cost of living and the expenses of things and how much the port costs and how much Nido costs and so, one of the things we get to understand is that there's money all over the world, literally, that's available to Montserrat to a number of ways, loans, grants, and, you know what, hard work. Which brings me to just about my last point. What Montserrat needs is people working, not government jobs. Government don't produce nothing. Government moves paper around and charge you taxes and tariffs and fees and so on, right? You earn money. How you earn money? You work. You create things. You create a service or some kind of product and you sell. You plant food and you sell. You go to college and you learn something. You go to technical college and you learn something. You go work a trade and you learn something. You can offer somebody a service. You work for them, they pay you. That's how the economy works. The couple $1 million we get from England every year is not going to build Montserrat. It's not going to make things any easier for us. It's not going to help us lower the cost of living. It's not going to help us build a Montserrat that's going to make enjoyable for us. So what has to happen is that we have to work for what we want. It's not so hard. Paul and them have ensured that, for example, we have fiber optic cable. And Montserrat has one, although because of Mullen, so we have some problems, Montserrat actually is very well connected to the world, and we can do a hell of a lot with that. All you need to do is sit down and figure out what you can sell, what you can do, what you can make, what service you can offer, and sell it to the world. Go on your computer and sell it. Go to Radio Montserrat and talk on the radio and tell them, I sell this or I make this. Google it. Google a place. Put your name on the internet. There are people who come to Montserrat and work as much as they can online. It's not convenient all the time because Mull throws us out the electricity so often. So there's fixing that. But there's energy in Montserrat that we can fix. We're working to fix that, right? So what I want us to consider is, as we think about the cost of living, let's also think about the quality of life, the standard of living that we want. The standard of living is how much money we have, how much we can afford, what we can afford to buy. We can earn that because we're smart, we're competent, we're capable. We're smart, we're competent, we're capable. I work with children all the time in the schools. None of them is stupid. They have different capacities, but we have an education system that doesn't support them. One year when I started the orientation week at the secondary school, the first one was the orientation week 1 week before school starts. I had 64, 65 kids done a cultural center. Picture this. I'm in a cultural center with some other people, Mrs. Baker and some from the parliament, and people coming in to talk. You got 65 little animals. They're 11 and 12 years old, running around, jumping around. Like, you ever been to the monkey cage in the zoo? Up the steps, down, under the chair, literally all over the place these kids were. And we had so much fun because you know what happened? You got to see who could do what. There were some of them I knew that they're not going to read nothing. They can read, but they're not going to read. They're not going to sit down to read. But they can play the drum like nobody else. You ask them, they can lead like nobody else. They can give you ideas other people couldn't. But they'll go to secondary school and get lost because the system doesn't support that. And so our children lose. So we have to also create an education system that provides us the skills, the training we need to be able to do the things that the world requires of us. We are fully connected to the world. Even with the airline and even with the access that we have, we are fully connected to the world. We can produce anything at any level in the world as good as anybody else, as good as anybody else. One of the people who's coming to join us is a lawyer. He has been described in many instances as he's a Montserratian, born and raised, went to school here, did UWI and whatever else. He has been described as the best draftsman, legal draftsman in the Caribbean, or one of, not by me, by people from out there, right? He has worked in Barbados, he has worked in Guyana, he has worked pretty much all over the world, used to work for CARICOM. So we're not stupid. People who plant food, who take the time to decide when and where and how, which moon and whatever. It's a complicated business. Sorry, I can't bend down for that. It's a complicated business, but farming is a science. And the people who can do farming, guess what? We need them for two reasons, because otherwise we're going to die. We're going to die if we don't get food. And our children will die. So what I want to leave with you here is the goal for us has to be to raise Montserrat, elevate Montserrat, to stop thinking of ourselves as without any power. That because we get a few $1 million, people can tell us what to do all the time. I submit that we could get out of granting aid in Montserrat within about 8, maybe 10 years, maybe even less than that. Because if our budget is $100 and something million a year, right? It means that all we need to get out of granting aid to cover our daily costs would be maybe 200,000, and we're good. We have a couple dollars to spare. 200 million, sorry. You want to tell me that if we put our brains together, form some small businesses, develop some services, plant some good food, talk to one another, use our brains, we cannot within about 5 years or so have Montserrat running like a well-oiled engine? Am I wrong here? Yes or no? Somebody help me out. What you don't know? Why not? You don't think we could do that? You don't think Montserrat could do that? Right. So if we have the vision, exactly. So if we have the vision, if we can see the place to go, that's what I'm talking about. We come here, you tell us what you think Montserrat needs. We tell you what we can. You tell us what you can do, and we build it together. That's perfectly right, Daphne. It's exactly what we need. All of us sitting down and creating this thing. Can we do that? Can we do that? I mean, I'm moving to everybody answer me. Thank you. All right.
Thank you, Shirley. I want to ask Honorable David Olsen to come to the podium at this time.
Well, everybody can talk. Okay, that's good. Good evening, everybody. Well, I'm not used to really introduce myself because I guess everybody here know of me as David. Yeah, as David Osborne. You know this group, the PDM group, and as we always say before, putting the people first. And we are here with our new group, trying to focus on how we can make a difference, a change for you, the people here in Montserrat. And I say you, the people, we're talking about everybody, Montserratians, Jamaican, Guyanese, Dominicanos, whatever they are, where they're from, everybody. But we can't do that without your help. So that's why we're here this evening here, to get a feedback from you as to the situations that are happening with you that you're not pleased with, or the situations that you think that we can get done, or any government can get done to be able to facilitate you living here on this island. I'm not going to deny the cost of living here in Montserrat is very, very high. I do a lot of traveling and through the islands and so on. And, you know, even, let me just take even Antigua, because that's the closest here. And most of us do go to Antigua, because we have to go to Antigua to travel, to go anywhere. And the cost of certain things in Antigua is way less than us. Okay, here they complain about we don't have a proper dock, you know, these kind of things. But we can make a difference here. The government of this country can make a difference. Because, and hear me, tell me if I'm wrong. If you, the people, have more money in your pocket, don't you think you're going to spend more, you'll be able to buy more? Yes, you will. You'll be able to buy proper food. And there's another thing. I love my fruits and my vegetables, my hard food. And at times we can't get them here and we have to be importing them. Yes, I know agriculture, the agricultural lands that we have here that we're trying to redevelop or develop on this side of the island. But we have lands, we have to make decisions and hard decisions as a government to be able to make the changes that are needed. There are lands in gauges, or what you call it, modern use, that can be utilized. In Italy and other places of the world, there's a part in Italy where they had a huge volcano, and the volcano is still active. I'm not sure the exact name of it. Pardon? What was it? Etna volcano. And under that volcano, in that same area where all the ash grew up and everything is, you know what they plant in there? Wine, grapes for wine. And they're utilizing it. They are utilizing it to, you know, for their own benefit. Why can't we utilize certain areas that produce, that are more fertile to be able to produce more food, giving the individuals? It's not everybody going to go over there to do that. But give the few individuals, make a proper check, just like you do sand mining, and they're using Plymouth to load barges. Have a way of a system that allows certain farmers into these areas per day or whatever day they do decide to go inside there. But give them that chance, because we need to be able to be self-sustainable in certain foods, you know, and many things. But we want to do as with the group here, we have, you know, like our very good friend there, Glenn Daly, And he, as you know, he was in the custom system. But there are some things that can be changed, and that will make a great difference for you. Yes, they have, like right now, the government as of present have the white goods. I think it's the Jew. What part of it, Glenn, is the part they've taken off of the white goods? Or the import tax that they're taking off the white goods. And the government is finding out even now that they're making a lot of money just doing that. That's why they extended it for another year. Because here what, you can now be able to buy a proper fridge, whether a refrigerator or a TV. And you have to be able to have that money to buy it, because we all know that with the electricity problem that with the problem we have with electricity, that every minute comes on fluctuation, knock out your TV, knock out this. But if you have the money, you buy it back. And these are the kind of things that we, the PDM group, are trying to focus on in terms of being able to put these things in place for your benefit. Investment is another thing. We have not had one investment into Montserrat. No foreign investment into Montserrat on this government. Absolutely none. And I can openly say I had one investor who was willing. He came here. And if you think I'm lying, you could ask Astrid Wade, because he took them all around to show them everything. And the same Dr. Sammy and all. They went through the whole process, going through everything, and with their lawyer. And I could call her name, which is the young girl Silcott, to deal with this, to get a system here. And they were not. And then again, also with the banking system, had problems that we have, which we need to change, we need to work on. They did not get that. And you know where they went? They went to St. Martin. And they set up in St. Martin. And every month, they're shipping out 2 40-foot containers, one to America and one to Europe. And I spoke with a gentleman about 2 weeks ago, and he said he's just coming back from Africa. And they're now working on getting the products into Africa. And that is St. Martin over there. And it could have been in Montserrat. Could you imagine that? We lost all of that. So we need to work and focus on getting these things happen. You know, we have water here in Montserrat. Despite what everybody's saying, we have a lot of water here in Montserrat. You go Antigua, and you're drinking what is it, spring water, mineral water, what they call it, and it's desalinated water. It doesn't even taste good to drink, but you have to. Antigua needs it, and we have so much water here. Why can't we even have a bottled water system set up here in Montserrat to export water to these places? They have water come from Dominica, St. Vincent, Trinidad, America, whatever. Let's tap into it across here. That's why we need also, in terms of a ferry service, that can help to facilitate all of these industries that we are thinking about. But people, I want you, and let me tell you, we cannot, as a group, cannot get anything done without you. You have to work with us in terms of letting us understand what your situation, what the problems are, and giving us also ideas as to how we can move or what we can do to help to develop certain things. I remember the first time I ran for election. No, it was the second time. The second time. And there was a gentleman in St. Peter's called Congo Bill. Many of you wouldn't know him. And since I'm small, I know Congo Bill. A very, very hard drinker. Sometimes he was drunk all on the side of the road or whatever, and he lived for years. And he said to me one day after the election, I gave him a ride from St. Peter's School. He said he's going to the hospital. I said, I'll give you a ride. And when this gentleman told me a few things, I was shocked. Because, you see him and you just think that, he always drunk and whatever and so on and that kind of thing. But when he told me some things, I who think I was clever and smart, it didn't even cross my mind. And he was so right in many things. And one of the things he said, look, don't worry about who no vote for you, You don't have to worry about them. You have to look after them still. Because here what happens, you're going to have another election, and they're going to see who you are. Just do good and look after them. And I'm sure that they will come and vote for you. So just do that. And he is smart in his thinking. Who think that he'd have been thinking that or saying that? So what I'm saying is that we want to work with you. We want to work together with you for you to help us. The problems you're having, let us know and help us to be able to make better this country and make better your living, in terms of many things. Because jobs is one of the biggest things we need here in Montserrat. Population, yes, but we have jobs. If you can work 1 or 2 jobs, 3 jobs, and you'll be better off, you have more money in your pocket. You don't have to beg nobody for nothing. You don't have to beg the government for nothing. So these are the kind of things that we want to work to get done as this group. So please, again, I'm begging, please help us to be able to make the difference. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Husband. Okay, I spoke earlier about a comparison with the food that you buy at the Dominica boat and the food you buy from the local farmers. And I said that we're here to have a discussion and to pull up each other. And I was quickly pulled up by 2 farmers, right? And let me tell you what they said to me. The 2 farmers here this evening who were saying, remember that the farming here in Montserrat is labor intensive and it is expensive. If you're not doing it yourself and you have to get someone to help you, the rate is pretty high. And if I take your mind to USA, everything is done by equipment and machines. So because they're so automated and the technology they're using is really right up there, they're able to offer better prices. So having said that, those 2 farmers asked me to be their mouthpiece. But I know a former police who have been very vocal, and he's a farmer. So I want him to give me an idea too of some of the challenges being faced by the farmers. And that is no other than Your Excellency, Mr. Daniel James. So Daniel James, step to the mic.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
Good afternoon.
Okay, what the Member of Parliament said a while ago is very, very, very true. In every walk of life, you would encounter some difficulty. But as it stands in Montserrat right now, if you're into farming and you cannot get a kickstart, just like you have a motor vehicle, the battery is dead, you have no one to give you a jump start from the vehicle, you've got to leave it there. And so it is with farming in Montserrat. If you can't jump start your own self, it does not have the finance to go to the bank or whatever little you have, and you get from your pension, you pay it out every month, and you got to scratch to get it back. The government of the day, they have a lot of old talk and promises. I'm not afraid to say so because I've been in this thing from 32 years. As a police inspector working at Dagenham, Belém, and the volcano came and now moved to Lower Duck Pond. But in farming, you need a help. And if you're going every year rotating the same thing, you cannot get no better. You have to pay a laborer $135 a day. And if they're very nice today, you take $120, and at 12 o'clock they have to go because it's expensive and you cannot get no help at all. The help we once used to get, I don't know what happened. MDF at the credit union used to help farmers to some extent. And I don't know what happened to that program. But since that program came out and it's no more on the scene now, you have to fight as a farmer for yourself. I'll give you an example of how serious the situation went. I was given a greenhouse to manage by the then administration of Mr. Osborne, John Osborne, and Mrs. Dyehow, because they saw my interest in farming, and they told me they're going to give me the greenhouse. It's not mine, I say I'm aware of that, but they're going to manage this. On the piece of land that I have working, I went in and I started, and I saw progress. And in just about 6 months after getting the greenhouse. This government of the day was in a government before, and one minister who was in the agriculture department, now this premier, called me to his office and said that they want to run some experiment in the greenhouse. So my livelihood, which was in the greenhouse, ceased. These are setbacks. I purchased everything in the greenhouse with my own money. He took the greenhouse from me, said they're going to run some experiment. I said, could I be part of that? He said, no, I found it strange. So I said, okay, since I can be, I didn't make no fuss about the land or anything yet, because if they're going to run a process, you would come to an end at some time. Up to this day, they took the greenhouse from me. My name is still on record. I signed for it. And I've spoken to members of their government several times. And they've never given me the greenhouse. They put it down for 5 years. And after 5 years, somebody went and asked for the greenhouse to rent. And the man is on my land coming and renting it and working there every day. I make sacrifices. And I try to live a Christian way in dealing with this, because I could have gone violent with spending my money to buy water tanks and everything, and somebody else come and use it. I try starting on my own again, and the only subsidy we get in farming now, the plants you get from the nursery, the tractor that you get from, well, you get it in general. They say that tractor is subsidized at $90 per half acre, $180 for an acre, and it goes up. But how many people could afford to get that jump start and to purchase seeds that some people say that they have a seed shop and doesn't have anything? And you've got to send to Antigua, and there are people who here helping me to get seed out of Antigua. If I look to my left, I'll probably see a few of them. And other places, you cannot get nothing here to buy, except for the place in St. Peter's here where you get a little seeds from. But the government does not help farmers at all. That's why the things here got to be expensive. I've been selling okras from time immemorial for $5 a packet. It has gone to $10, and it hurts me to sell members of the public, because I know how hard Montserrat is. A bag of okra that I used to sell for $5 has gone to $8. So I try to develop the quantity to see if I can get things come off and work out. But the government is not helping you at all. You go to them and you tell them of your problems, predial larceny, theft, and they're telling you, buy cameras. They're not donating the cameras. They buy cameras to set up on your ground. And so the life of a farmer here in Montserrat, some people, because of politics, are afraid to talk. I wasn't born in Montserrat, but I'm here longer than a lot of people who I see around here now, and I consider myself to be a Montserratian. And I'm not going to run because of these foolish people telling me, I'm married to a Montserratian, I have my children a Montserratian, and I would stick it until a government of the day comes and exercise discretion. I'm not expecting government to do everything. Government cannot do everything, because there are so many areas of government that people have to look after. So I don't expect they're going to put all into farmers and fisheries. I expect several other areas have to have it. But if you do an equitable share in the things and prioritize, we cannot go on in Montserrat without food. And as Mr. Osborne said, food is paramount. You open up a restaurant, you open up 200 in Montserrat, they make money. So food is paramount in Montserrat. And if you can't get the food, and you got to buy them from a Dominica boat. It's difficult. One example is that I sell seasoned pepper for $10 per pound. And the boat from Dominica sell for $16. And people go down there and cluster and buy it. So I wonder, when you buy it for $16 a pound, how you're going to get to sell a package to somebody for $5? No wonder seasoned pepper has gone up now to $8 and $10 per packet from $5. The government sit back and they relax. There are a lot of farmers, some are here, see the pressure we've been going through. And I'm glad when I get a little forum to talk about this and to vent my views so that people would know what is going on. Because if a politician who is supposed to be an impartial man or person, because you tell them at a function, you saw them that I don't think you have done enough to help Montserrat farmers in the past. And in about 3 weeks, you take away the greenhouse from me. This is, you know, making you try to get violent. They don't say, well, okay, James, you're going to pay for your tanks, we're going to pay for your blocks I bought from Pastor Peter, or whatever. And that's my loss. So I just had to start all over again.
Before you move, Mr. James, I know you're speaking on behalf of the farmers.
All farmers.
Yes.
And individuals who buy from the boat, and this is why we suffer. Because I don't blame the farmers in Montserrat who raise their dasheen prices up. Because when they sell dasheen at the port for $9 and the farmers sell for $6 here, you know, something look wrong. And we have a better quality of ground food than what comes from Dominica. Because I've been on training in Dominica, and I see the amount of fertilizers that they put in the hole before you put in the leaves and the dirt. This is why people don't know. But I can tell you, I have training in agriculture with people who come from Israel. The fertilizer punches a brown hole in the bottom of the dasheen, and it's not good to eat. It's not good for human consumption. And this is what people buy every day because they have no choice. The local dasheen, the fellas are growing up in the hills, Molyneux in particular, and wherever they have them, and you would never find that in the dasheen because we don't pour down about quarter pound of dasheen, fertilizer in a dasheen hole to get it grow. But I speak on behalf, in general, the farmers and other people who buy food.
Yeah, what I want to ask you before you leave, though, just a summary, like you could speak to. I just want a summary. What are the areas you really think, in your opinion, that government should assist in, like irrigation, etc.? Just a summary, just maybe 5 things in terms of farming.
Okay.
That you think will help the farmers.
Yeah. What should happen in that? We experience a time in the year when you have a serious drought. This year is not too bad. We got to give blessings to the Master because he has helped us to get some water. But there are times when serious famine, and this is why they always say Montserrat farmers are dry by the farmers. Nothing can survive from human beings to right down. Nothing can survive without water. And if the government of the day can do like what Antigua did and stop running around and babble and talk. Antigua, I used to ship carrots, tomatoes, everything to Antigua. Now it's on the reverse. Until a gentleman from here went up to Antigua by the name of Christopher, and he started making a set of mini dams. And on my last visit by one of the governments, Antigua has, every place you go have a dam, and there's no river. But what happens, the water that runs off the road, they divert them into areas and make huge dam. I've been to one of the dam that hold $1.4 million. And Goodwin, and he farm an area in Antigua where you water all over. I've been to the south where they grow pineapple, and the man has a dam. And they can grow their thing all around. They don't have to run all over and say, now we have several waters that are running here. They have one at the secondary school, which can be trapped and centralized so that people who from Nance River come back can have water. They have water at Runaway Gut. But you need the expertise. We are not expertise in irrigation. And the issue is they have waters running about. So much so that, you know, people come and bottle the water that is excessive running over. I do not know whether or not they're paying a cost or whatever they're paying. But just as he can bottle the water and ship them overseas, I don't think he has a local market. The farmers can get some of that same water and from that place in just above the secondary school where that big place is overflowing, and also up at just up at Hope, whenever the Nance River run is when you know that water is running. And nobody's trapping, nobody's helping. They can also build, help farmers who are on hillside lands to have contours that will hold the water in a dam. Dig them at least, say, 4 or 5 feet, 2 in each land. They have them in Antigua. So the water comes and it doesn't wash away all the dirt from the top of the ground. You wash them into the contour and you have that water to use. And things like that government can do to help. But as you have seen and others have seen, there's nothing like that going on in Montserrat. If you don't pay a domestic water bill, then you're in serious trouble. And they have now begun to give some farmers a special water rate. I'm going to give them the credit. So those farmers who are fortunate, they will have their special water rate to pay. But you don't know what's going to happen next. It's unpredictable people we are dealing here as government. They're unpredictable. They could just burst out at any time.
Yes, thank you very much. You have said a mouthful there, and we are taking notes. Give Mr. James a round of applause. Well, after you have a man like Mr. James, you must have a powerful Calypsonian. So I'm going to ask the one Jester Weeks, a former Calypso King, who intends, I believe, when time is right, to become another future Calypso King, or maybe a future gospel artist. I think he's more like a future gospel artist. Step to the mic, Mr. Gospel Artist.
Hey, good evening, everybody. It's really kind of emotional for me to be here because I came to the point of giving up and walk away from my house and go somewhere else to live in England, because what's happening here is not practical to live. My issue is basically like policies. They are draconian. General orders older than my grandfather, but it still exists to govern people. I've seen and I've heard the most recent budget of $230 million. And as someone who is disabled, I haven't heard no money set aside for people like me. I feel left out. I feel really bad about it, because when they want your ex, they come to your house. After that, you are nobody. So when I got called to this gathering here, I sat home and say, should I even consider voting again? Because when I think about how things are for me and others, because I'm not here for me, myself alone, the way things are and the way you've been treated by the government in power, they're giving you a few years to die. But lo and behold, I'm still here alive and thankful to God the Almighty, because I know what it is to be hungry and desperate and suicidal. When no one in the know-how has come to the rescue. So after all the struggles where I am considering the mortgage this month, or my children this month, or my bill this month, this is how a system with policies has got me to live, considering where the income should be spent this month. And those policies need to be changed and revamped, because if you're going to stop me from working with all of my bills and financial commitments, you should meet me half the way and help me, because you stop me from working with $300,000 of the bank's money in lookout. You stop me. and tell me that I cannot be gainfully employed. What ludicrous business is this? A man of my power, my will, my know-how, in a letter from Social Security, you must not be gainfully employed while we're giving you something monthly that can't even pay the mortgage. I was the first man on Piper's Pond Meridian doing security. 6 days' time, that Draconian law came to pass. You can't work here no more because government giving you a little money at one time and you should not work and gain no more. I have my children, I have my grandchildren, I have mortgages, I have financial commitments, and you put in black and white, I should not be gainfully employed. It's better you had cut me short and hang me something about. Because I can work, I should be working, and not tell me, don't work. The ambulance has never picked me up nowhere in 4 years to say, Iceman fall down because he's blind. I am visually impaired. Give me the chance to bring my children as far as I can, help them to get education, and go uni like everybody else. Why you stop me from working and then have me and my children suffering? I pray for the day that a government would come to the fore and answer to the charges of these draconian laws. So after they tell me I can't work, I tried farming. In Lower Duck Pond, the same like Mr. James. He's a good man, he teaches me a lot. Gone there, begging the help. I planted over 18 trays of slips. And I see goat kneeling on their knees and eat them. And I take picture with them and send to the director of agriculture and the minister. And they upset because I do that. Upset because I do that. So where is the help for me? Because, as I said before, I was not supposed to be alive today. Glory to God, I'm alive. Because if you're not helping me, it means I should be dying slowly. But I'm here. I'm here. One more chance to see Montserrat get back where it's supposed to be. One more. At my old age here now, I cannot do it again like this. Because the Bible gives you Fiscal and 10, and me done gone over 50, I go down the road there. And me want enjoyment. Me want betterment. Me want employment. Me want investment. I too much to ask. Me hungry to live a decent life. PDM, I help me to start broke. From the 28th of the month, for the mortgage pay, me not have nothing again till the next month, you know. A people and friends and my good pastor, they help me and give me the food now and again. And when the food come, I eat them. I didn't lose the weight because we try to eat something, but mighty God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. This is the work of the devil to have people living this way. And I pray the next 5 years, because soon 60, me want something better for my children. My children have potential to be neurologists, cardiologists. But if we can't help them, how will they get there? Because once you have certain surname in Montserrat, once you have certain surname, do not apply for government scholarship. What me say? Once you're on Weeks or on Riley or certain surname, me not want nobody not know about Bank of Montserrat. Me talk plain. Once you have certain surname, you not apply for nothing. Your day is done. So they kill me to kill my children, who could be Montserrat future leaders, Montserrat cardiologists. And before I go, I am a visually impaired person. Visual mean eyes. And Montserrat imports ophthalmologists once a month from Antigua. once a month, Dr. So-and-so comes here to see you.
26, 28.
We have limited equipment, and he brings none. So that means you're not being diagnosed, your prognosis is not being seen because we don't have a proper eye clinic here. We need a resident ophthalmologist. We need a resident cardiologist. We need a resident neural. We need health care that is optimum. Not Antigua. Glory to God one of these days. Please give the people of Montserrat a future and a hope. Thank you.
Thank you, Iceman. I'm gonna talk to you in a minute. But let me just, a quick announcement. Whoever's driving 2628, and there's a blue rental, a RAV4 parked near the boat down here. You guys need to move it. Does it belong to anybody in here? 2628? Yeah, please move it. They want to move the boat or something. And there's a blue rental, a RAV4. Anybody driving that? Didn't give me the number. Thank you. Yeah, Iceman, you and I have talked. So you know how I feel about this. What I know for a fact is that there are laws, international laws, that say that you can't just be put out of work by a company just because you have a disability. They have an obligation to find accommodation for you elsewhere. And one would expect that the government would consider an even higher obligation. You don't just put people out of work. So we've talked about this over and over again. What I can tell you, what I know I can absolutely tell you, is that what we intend to do, how I am, is that I expect everybody to participate, have a good life, engage in everything. And the people I'm working with on PDM feel the same way. So the idea that you are capable of working and moreover want to work and not being allowed to is just not an option. There are laws that provide for that. I don't understand how the government of Montserrat could be flouting, government of Montserrat or the British government through the government of Montserrat could be flouting those laws. Again, let me come back to one of the things that we are aware that has to be done has to be done right now, or that we're going to lose Montserrat. We have a number of legal things that we need to address. The Constitution and some other laws and some secondary laws as well, primary and secondary laws, that need to be rewritten to accommodate where we want to go. When I was in the Parliament, we had an Attorney General from Grenada, I think it was, Grenada or St. Vincent. And he was having some difficulty with the government and the laws and so on. He said to me, Shirley, let your people know that they cannot allow the law to stand in the way of your development, which means decide where you want to go and write the laws, amend the laws that allow you to get there. The laws that disempower your people don't get you there. So we write laws, we will need to write laws that say our people have the power, the authority, the right, the responsibility, the obligation, whatever you want to do, to be able to contribute to Montserrat. The reality is every time you deny somebody the opportunity to contribute, you think Iceman is working just for himself? No. How economics works is there's something called the multiplier effect in economics. You spend $1, it goes to the other person, the other person, the other person, and as it goes away, the effect of that $1 in the community, in the market, multiplies and makes it better for everybody. That's how Montserrat works. So when Iceman is not working, there's money that's being removed literally from the economy. It's being denied the economy. Now think of how many other people. Last week on Brain Power, I talked about mental illness. And I talked about mental illness for a number of reasons. Because like everybody else in Montserrat, everybody's everywhere in the world, there's at least one person in my family who suffers from mental illness, right? I also know that a lot of people who left Montserrat, they used to be on the street here. Montserrat people used to make them feel really bad. I've seen them treat them bad. Or just even not necessarily even treat them bad, just ignore them, dismiss them because they're crazy, because from time to time they cycle. And then they're just wandering the streets. They're not contributing to the economy. You know how many artists, how many actors, actresses, dancers, fashion designers, architects, quote-unquote crazy people out in the world? You know what the difference is? Out in the world, they get support. Mental illness is considered on the same level in many instances as a physical illness. Certain disability is the same thing. You accommodate them, and so people can continue to contribute. So you can think of anybody. All of you here in Montserrat, you can think of somebody who went to England, got the right medication, and been doing perfectly fine. So when we talk about health in Montserrat, a hospital building is not the issue. Healthcare is the issue. Keeping people healthy. My sister Brenda and I, you guys may know Brenda's a pediatrician. A couple of weeks ago, maybe a couple of months ago, actually I think it's when I broke my leg, we had the conversation about healthcare, and she said that what Montserrat needs to do is we need to start looking at healthcare the way we look at healthcare for children. What do you do with children? You prevent them from falling. You prevent them from getting sick. You protect them from all kinds of illnesses and injury. You see a child going on there, I guarantee you 6 of you are going to run and grab the child before the child falls. Somebody have a flu, don't bring the baby near me. Don't bring the baby near me, I'm sick. Because of the condition that Montserrat is in right now, we're going to have to be intentional and deliberate about how we look after ourselves so we can build our economy. We're not going to have a country unless we have an economy. And we're not going to have an economy unless our people are working. I mean, people are not going to be able to work if they're not healthy or they're not being provided the support that they want. Iceman could work. Even if he were blind, completely blind, he could work. There are accommodations for that. The government of Montserrat has done stuff like that for other people too, right? Yes. And if you have a mental illness, instead of the 1 or 2 different kinds of medications that they have here, you go source the different kinds of medications so you can accommodate everybody else. You guys see my brother on the street? I know you see him. Yeah. No, he's not functioning so well because he's not getting the right medication. Because we're in Montserrat. All Montserrat needs is the will. Everything Montserrat needs, every single thing Montserrat needs to thrive, exist in the world. Money, education, medication, planes, boats, trains, cars, right? Everything Montserrat needs exists. We don't have to start anything from scratch. We just need to go look for it. And I can promise you that the money for these is available. Not necessarily to the British government. We were talking about that in group, right? I work for nonprofits in the United States. They get money from all over the place. Coca-Cola, Pepsi, Motorola, Apple, Microsoft, Delta. All the insurance companies, Prudential, they all have what is called, they have a community arm. Some people call it a community arm, some call it just, the same thing. They provide help for the community. These they give you money. They give you money. I have a friend in the US who says to me, Shirley, one of the things Montserrat should consider is creating a 501c3, a charitable arm, so you can get support. You write a grant. Government put an office with 2 people and a couple of computers, and their job is to find grants. So if Iceman is partially blind, and Iceman wants to do farming, he can get a grant that will support him with the products he needs, the materials he needs, plus the accommodation he needs for his site. They are out there, but we're not doing anything. Montserrat has been sitting around for the last, 20 how many years, waiting, begging. Please, give me more, give me more. We don't need to do that. We don't need to do that. We need to stop doing that. And if you work with the PDM workforce, we're going to stop doing that. If you know anything about me at all, you know that I won't do that. Even if I fall on my face trying, I won't keep trying. And I fall on my face enough times, okay? You get up and you keep going. They're going to talk about you today, but by next week they stop because you're back on the road, all right? That's what Montserrat needs to do. I don't need to remind you how Montserrat used to be. Yes, Miss Daphne. Good.
I heard you say something just now that I want to rebut. You say we need the will.
We need the what?
Will.
Yeah.
We just need to have the will. All the will in the world is not going to get us where we want to if we don't know how to get there. And I think what we are looking for a group of people who know how to get us to where we want to go. Because we're not sitting here because we don't have any will. We have the will, we just don't know how to do it. What we want are people who know how to do it, or people who are willing to listen to our ideas and then put things in place. So, don't tell us again that we do not have the will.
I didn't say we don't have the will. I said
that we need the will.
The foundation.
Saying that we need the will suggests that we don't have the will. So remember, we do have the will. Maybe not everybody, because some people, they just go along. But a lot of people have the will, they just don't know how to get where they need to. You're like that thing that you talk about, grant. Oh, we didn't know that there was grant out there that Eichmann could have gotten the grant. Do you think if Eichmann knew that he has the will, that he would not have gone and done it?
But I'm not talking
about
Eichmann and you.
Know. I mean, you're not talking about that alone.
Government.
You're talking about a general thing. But then that's why we have who we are thinking are people who know how to get us where we need to go. So it's, maybe you're saying that the government does not have the will. You're not talking about the people then.
I am saying the government does not have the will. The political will is not there. And I'm also saying if you have the will, if you really have the will, we'll find it. We have the will because we're here this afternoon. You have the will, so you came and you heard me say that.
Okay. What I heard was we need to have the will, which suggests that we don't have the will. So that's why I'm rebutting that. Yeah. Now you have clarified it. Yeah. Okay, now, so I've heard a lot of talking, and I want to direct questions.
Yes.
You haven't said it's time for us to come and ask questions, but I'm asking that you now ask us to ask you questions. One of the first things that was spoken about was the tax threshold. I have two questions on that. First, when does that new tax threshold come into being, if you know? And if it does not come into being and you are elected, will you now raise the tax threshold to that 24,000 a year that you spoke about?
Okay, thank you for the questions. Two lovely questions. First of all, the tax threshold, that's a very good question because it was announced in Parliament by the government in the budget, but that doesn't mean that it comes into being the day you hear it. So when I visit the tax office, as I said, they could only speak to what exists presently, which is not necessarily the 18,000. So we still need the government to give us a date as of when that will come into being. That's the first thing. And the second question, yes, indeed, 2,000, because I believe that the government already set, they're the ones that set the, I call it an unofficial minimum wage, because they're working on a minimum wage and they have not yet completed that process. However, having worked on it before, just before we got, before we lost the election, I know the report was already in, and the report was showing that those same salaries at the bottom that the government fixed, if the government was to implement the minimum wage that was being recommended, like $12 or so an hour, then it means that the government itself would have been guilty of paying people less than the minimum wage. And that is why the government went and decided that they're going to move the lower level of the scale to just so that nobody gets paid less than 2,000. So technically, I already know, because I have the information, that it's actually, they have set the minimum wage, but they did it unofficially. So I'm saying, I believe on the bottom of my heart that it is not right. If you already established that the minimum wage is the minimum that anybody could live on, then why are you taxing that? You should be taxing it after they move beyond the minimum wage. And that is my firm belief, and I will put my head on the block where that is concerned, that I will do that, or that a government I'm part of will do that.
Okay. I just wanted to hear that commitment. So we have lots of people here who have heard of that, plus those online. So should you get into power, we're expecting a 24,000 a year tax-free threshold.
Indeed, because let me just explain further. Let me just explain further. I don't want to be coming here and saying yes just for the sake of saying yes. What we have to understand, right, even though the government would have set the lower end of the salaries for their workers and established that no one gets paid any less than $2,000 a month. Right, sitting here right now among us, there are persons who work in the private sector that are paid $2,000 or less a month. And once that new tax threshold comes into being from $15,000 to $18,000, some of those persons sitting here will still be taxed, and they will still be in the minimum wage bracket. So we are speaking about not pies in the sky, but we're speaking about what's actually happening to the people and the people who will be affected. Those are sitting here and some of those who are listening online.
Okay. I have quite a few questions.
Go right ahead, you could shoot.
So if anyone else has questions, okay. So my next question, Glenville, right? Glenville spoke about some SRNOs which we are not meant to know about. They're available, but we're not meant to know about them. What I want to know, and I have wondered about these things before. Should you be elected, will those things be told to the public? Will we know? Or will it be a well-kept secret still? And all the things that we should know, will they still be well-kept secrets? Or will you go out and tell the people what is available to them?
Thank you, my teacher from back then, my teacher. Of course, that is what Radio Montserrat is there for. Radio Montserrat should be telling the people what's going on. Radio Montserrat is not only there just to play music. It is a government radio station. So people need to know the SRNOs that are available so they can use them. Because the reason why they wanted people not to know about these things, of course, they wanted to collect as much revenue as possible. But it's unfair for people not to know what is available for them. And sometimes you go to the port and you have to ask somebody over and over for the exemption. Sometimes, yeah, it depends on who you meet. So of course, we will use Radio Montserrat to broadcast. People need to know what is available. Radio Montserrat is not there for just music, it's for education. And Radio Montserrat must be used for its purpose. As you can see, certain programs are removed from Radio Montserrat because the government chooses not to. But this government would make sure that these exemptions are given to the people.
Okay, thanks for that one. And again, they lock your witnesses.
Of course, of course.
Now, we heard David Osborne spoke about some banking issues that kept a business that wanted to operate in Montserrat out. Now, there are banking issues that even hampers people who have businesses in Montserrat and are here. What can be done, if anything, by any government to fix these issues?
Well, before Mr. Paul answers the question, as far as I know, Bank of Montserrat government has at least 50-something% shares, and the directors from government. So at the end of the day, we have to now speak and find out what's happening with the bank, because everybody is affected by the banking sector. I myself do business, and as much as I haven't spoken about it as yet, I am a person who deals with investors, and investors actually invest in my business. And I've been trying to get investors to come to Montserrat, but I've been having some issues also with the banks and how they can get their money over. You see, the problem in Montserrat is that everything in Montserrat is all about money laundering. And some of these companies, they are much bigger. Some of these companies that I deal with, they have more staff, they have more people than the population of Montserrat. And when I explain to them and I call the bank and try to get some information and the things that they have to produce to get their bank account, they get turned off and decide they're not coming to Montserrat. And that is the reason when I hear some people speak about they're going to bring investors. And I make videos about this. Everything is about bringing investors. I am a businessman and I deal with investors. And at the end of the day, investors need to know that they're going to make a profit. And that is the reason why I push local investors to actually invest or get the opportunities to invest in Montserrat. And I believe you're going to ask me a next question about this also. Because with the local investors, we don't know what the plans are for development. So that means we can't develop. And when the Premier went to Antigua for a trade meeting the other day, he was saying, one of the things that the people were saying, you need to have a strategic investment plan. And if in case you don't have that, they cannot invest in the country also. But we have to push our local people to make sure our local people get the first preference when our local people cannot go forward, then we bring in the foreign investor. But the bank is an issue, and everybody know that the Bank of Montserrat has some things that need to be sorted. It need to be fixed. Yeah.
And I mean, one of the very, very basic things that they need to fix is responding to people.
Responding to people.
You send them an email and nobody responds.
Exactly.
Money is missing from your account and you want to know, well, what has happened to my money? Why is it not there? You send an email, nobody responds.
Yeah.
And that can't be right.
And the government of Montserrat has a part to play.
As far as I'm concerned, they're complicit if they have 50% or more.
Exactly, they have more than 50 something percent. So at the end of the day, they have 51%. Right, so they have more than enough to have a say, and that is the reason why we as business people we suffer, because we are not getting any assistance. I myself, when I go to the bank, I can't get a loan. I don't understand the reason why, and I have assets, and it's an issue.
Because you don't have any hair in your head.
I don't have any hair, but
Paul, come to talk. Let's hear from Paul.
I don't have a lot more than him on my head, so I might be in trouble too. Yes, actually, as Glenn is saying, the interesting thing, we have one bank per se, the Bank of Montserrat. And it's probably, the good thing and the bad thing is that the bank is actually majority owned by government. That means that the government is responsible for placing at least 6 directors on the board, which is the majority. It means that these directors are to report to the Minister of Finance, which is the Premier. And these issues you raised here are not issues that we're hearing for the first time. Issues that the government knows about, issues that we know about. As Shirley said before, is the willpower to deal with them, or as Glenn said, he whispered to me that government don't care. We all really know that. I hear one issue where we all here encouraging people to do business. And we have a bank, it's the only bank, and if they don't have a certain card, and they want to use the ATM. They can't go to the ATM and get the money and come and do business. Because not everybody here have a card machine that you could use the card in a machine. So if somebody wants to do business with you, if a tourist comes in and the tourist see you selling some nice trinkets and so forth, want to do business with you, and you go up to the bank and say, look, I'm going to change. Depending on which card they have, MasterCard, Visa, depending on which one, they cannot use it in the ATM and get any money. When I asked about that, they said it was a matter of a program that they needed to get and it costs X amount. I believe if you're serious about the development, and I like the idea when you said the will might be there, what is the plan? Government have to make some sacrifice. Government is the majority owner of the bank. If government wants to stimulate the economy and get the economy going, government have to find a way to finance that program. Because if you have businesses and nobody could do business with you, what's the point? Because nobody could access money to do business with you. It's pointless. I too have tried to, fellow Montserratians who happen to have the business partners who are not Montserratians to come and set up business that they do have elsewhere, set up a branch here. And they said to me clearly, Paul, we don't have a robust banking system. You know that. So I am not an expert in banking. And what I plan to do, right, is that for one of these forums, what I'm going to do is get some bankers. Not just from Montserrat. We're going to, of course, include Bank of Montserrat because they're the ones here. They could say what the challenges are. But I'm going to get experts who are in banking from overseas, and I'm going to also get one from the ECCP. Because I believe that when we don't have the answers ourselves, people still need the answers, and so we need to bring the experts in to guide us as what we can do to correct these deficiencies. Because indeed, we have some deficiencies that is impediments to the development of the country. And all this talk about economic growth, if we can't get money move around, if the investor can't get money move around, can't get the money in, can't get the money out, then we're only talking until the cows come home and nothing's going to happen.
Blowing hot wind. Okay, so now, anybody else? Okay,
yeah,
and go ahead. Now I'm down to what? You come in? Okay.
Disrespectful. Do you take that as disrespect?
Huh?
Do you take that as disrespect?
Hot win?
Yeah.
Well, no.
I didn't like that. From my position,
I don't take that.
I'm here to defend you.
Okay, you defend me. Okay.
Defend you, Bridget.
Well, I'm thankful for the defense, but I'm the type of person that I said we want to hear from the people, and anyhow they come over, I welcome, because I just want to listen and take from them the positives that they're trying to put forward. So
Yeah, but you gave a lot of time.
thank you for your defense. I mean, there are a few times
After
you hit me on the head. A few times you hit me head with the cricket ball, but there are a few times you hit me on the head with the cricket ball. So I'm happy to see you now finally defending me.
So love and respect, Regine. Still love and respect.
Yeah, go ahead.
So we're here today. So you have a radio program on the radio on Thursday night. Thursday night or Wednesday?
Tuesday night.
Opposition. What's the program called?
That's the Eyes on the Country. Is the opposition program.
And your last program was based on what?
The last program?
Yeah.
Well, the last program we spoke about the fact that we have so many changes, so many appointments of commissioners and deputy commissioners in such a short period of time. And I said, I'm really calling upon the government and the governor to put in place a proper succession planning. Not so that because what they're saying to us, what they're doing to us, they're saying, oh, you don't have anybody ready. So that's why you have to bring somebody in. I'm saying, if you have an
I'm going to cut you short. Why is that your focus and why is that so important to you?
It is important to me because...
To your organization then?
It is important to my organization because the police force, I believe, should be manned at the top by somebody who lives in Montserrat, at best a Montserratian. Anywhere you go in the world, they have their own people at the top in the police force. I don't believe, if they have to bring somebody from the CARICOM Islands to be at the head, so be it. But why do we have our colonial masters have to come and be the head of the police force?
Do you think they're playing games with us?
They are more than playing games with us.
And why are you buying into it? Why are you buying into it that you come and you're spending your focus on that and they do it deliberately, their intention is to divert our attention to the positivity. So I've noticed they are coming with a mindset and they're winning you. Because what they're doing now is change our mindset in terms of we focus on things we're positive to develop a country, we've been diverted by them. And you're winning to them. And that's joke.
No.
So you come up on the radio and tell me, oh man, I will run the police force for 3 months and you get rid of him and 2 months after you get the next man. You don't think I deliberately do it?
So you're sorry, we're buying into it. Let me correct you with that. Let me correct you on that.
Misguide us and we are buying into it.
No, I don't think we're buying into it. What we're doing...
So you come on the radio and talk about Regiment is there for the night, 50 minutes. You man talk on the radio for foolish things. Chopping you talk on the radio for 50 minutes. Me hear you chat chopping on the government radio station. I'm very disappointed with you.
Let me say to you. You say we're buying into it.
Yeah.
We are saying that it should not be happen, and I will continue to say it should not be happen. We are not buying into it. I think you misunderstand what we are saying. We are saying that it is happening right now, and we are saying it should be stopped. And if we don't speak about it, if we don't,
what's the negative impact? They have an event tomorrow. They have an event tomorrow. You don't think them orchestrate that event that they're having tomorrow? One community drive they're doing tomorrow down by the park. Have that happened in the last 5 or 6 years. So a new combination coming now and they're doing something like that. Isn't that positive?
No, here what I'm saying to you. I want to deal with, before you go to that, I want to deal with the fact that you're misunderstanding. We are speaking out against it. That is not buying into it. We are saying, no, we don't want to have it. We don't want it, and we'll continue to speak out against it with all respect to you. What we are saying, hold on, let me speak, and then you could speak afterwards. What we are saying, it is wrong. First of all, you get rid of all our local commissioners, you get rid of local deputy commissioners, and I'm saying, give me a chance, Mr. Irish. I'm saying that is wrong, and I will continue to speak out against it until it's changed. It is wrong. I'm not buying into it in no way. I must speak out against it because it's wrong, and it is basically what they're doing. When they get through with that in the police force, then they'll do it in every other area. And so I am not going to sit here or stand here and buy into it as you're saying. I'm going to continue to speak out against it. So if you misunderstand what we're saying on the radio, I'm happy that I'm here to explain to you that we are not buying into it. We are speaking out against it. And more people need to speak out against it because it's wrong. It's wrong. I don't know why you don't want us to speak out against it, but we'll continue to speak out against it because wrong is wrong.
Yeah, but we have some of the other issues that we should be focusing on.
Tell me one of the issues.
Right, so, okay, Montserrat is a particular situation. You know, one Darwin Fund, you know what they call one Darwin Fund?
Yes.
We are in a situation now that we are saying that Montserrat need to move in our environmentally friendly driven mindset. That's the drive. Yes. There are lots of opportunities now for us to be focused on. Somebody said that we got water problem very soon. We're not about harvesting water. We're not about getting ourselves out of this thing. But all of a sudden our mind gone here, there, and here. Simple things. We should be focusing on.
You're making a good point.
Simple things.
You're making a good point. You want me to speak to that? Are you finished?
Yeah.
Yeah. What I'm understanding with the water issue is that apparently it seemed like the springs weren't really maintained. And you will know that in Montserrat we seem to have a maintenance problem. We seem to have a maintenance problem, not just...
The spring go under Ministry of Communication and Works.
The springs are under MUL. They're under MUL.
And you were minister then, so the same problem that we had 10, 15 years ago, the same problem we have.
No, let me explain to you. The springs has to be constantly maintained. So if they were maintained under our time as government and they're not maintained now, it's going to get worse. So whether under our government is maintained, under this government they have to maintain it. And under any other government they have to maintain it. MUL seem to be suffering some issues financially. And when because of what happened, MUL seems not to be able to pay what they need to pay to maintain these things. It so happened, on your point about under the communication and works, actually government is the full owner of MUL. MUL is a company, but government own it 100%. Therefore, when MUL struggles and they cannot find the money, when they cannot find the money to maintain the springs and other issues, the government has to come to their rescue. We came to their rescue several times during our time. So we know. So we know that any government in power have to continue to come to the rescue until MUL is sufficient. So and on the water issue, it is important that whoever the government is come to the rescue and come to the rescue quickly. Because we know that not only the spring that they're utilizing now, there are other springs out there that are not being utilized that need to be utilized. Because if we are gonna make, as you say, you want to talk about other issues, so let me take you to other issues. If we are gonna, no, you're good, everything is good. What I'm saying, if we are gonna really get anywhere, one speaker talk about exporting water, but we can't export water if we can't provide water locally. And therefore, your point is very important about the springs. We need to ensure that government provide the money to MUL to get the springs back up to where they need to be. Not just the ones we're using now, but the ones that we are not using. They need to be tapped and be used. Otherwise, we would not be able to supply ourselves with water, much less to export water, which is what we need to be doing.
So, you know, they say Bellum is being overused. Bellum
the well?
Not Bellum.
The well.
Being utilized because Killiecrankie, one man said we need 120 keys, not rooms, keys.
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 Yeah.
So sometimes you have to concern about development and do you have the resources to provide that development? We talk about hotels and industry.
Yes.
Because we foresight something will happen. But on the electrical side of things, under the same company, we have not gone down the line of encouraging homeowners.
Hold on, Jabo, before sorry, Mr. Harris, before you go down that road, you was the point about the well. You want to finish that point?
No, well, basically what they're saying that Bellum now is doing lots of the pumping and sending water from Bellum to this side of the island. Killiecrankie is a great part of the world. Killiecrankie up now, Weeks River, up now, Hallinder, right. So Killiecrankie well has fell. It's not producing as much as it used to before. Obviously, we get lots of rain and people are confused. When we get lots of rain, doesn't mean that the wells are being filled.
Not necessarily.
Lots of rain are run off from the top of it. So it's not mean that the wells are being stratified and being, so we have to be conscious about that. So not heavy rains. So if we are not promoting water harvesting in our homes, like agriculture have some big drum over there, and they have a big building, and the water is being put to waste. So if you have agriculture and you have, seedlings and your nursery, and you're not collecting the water to feed in nurseries, you're not promoting nothing. You're not teaching me how to go forward. Because I expect you to be the guide to tell me how do we go forward.
Exactly.
So agriculture after the place. So if you pay a man and tell you go put some drainage on the roof, and then you put the lines and run them down the road, and the water gone down the bridge, you're not harvesting, but you have the tanks in there.
Correct.
You have the tanks, you have the nursery, but you're not doing it. So who is going to lead the way? Yeah, but government are the one have to lead us and saying this is what you need to do. And they put things in place and guide us.
You're correct.
They're not doing that.
You're correct.
I'm very disappointed, to be honest. I don't know what ministers, what their goals are, what their objectives are. So sometimes you're concerned about why are we not doing simple things like this? Why are you not telling people, go and buy a 1,000-gallon tank? Because remember, we're not reinventing the wheel. Remember, this has happened before. We grew up in having backyard tanks and govern. So why are we not doing it? Why we get smart and now we got... and simple things that
we get too complicated. Okay, I don't want you to lose your point with the electrical. Before you go, Jabo, I don't want you to lose your point with the electrical because I kind of throw you up there. I want you to continue the point with the electrical. You were saying the electrical side of MUL.
So my thing is that, so if MUL is not providing enough juice for us, so why can't we put a system in place that say, okay, the government, just like they do it before, the mule thing we tell you about before. You know, mule bail, the $1,000 or the $1 million they put in them business is not to help me and you, to help the company. You know that was? The whole objective was to bail out the company. So me and you end up benefiting from a little electric bill and a little water bill. But because of them in a problem, you know? And the man, they might bail out and the man they go on like, and they might help me and you. Nothing goes so. And the business a falter and they can't pay them workers, so they have to put $1 million out to our money we don't put it in and put them back in the system. I go on let them help me and you. Nothing goes so, Bridget.
Yeah, thank you. Let's give Roland a round of applause. So he's very vibrant and aggressive like a fast bowler, as he normally is.
Yeah. So, respect.
Yes, and I want to also let's give a round of applause. So Daphne, we didn't do that before she left.
Yeah, sorry about that. Sorry.
Oh, she not finished? Well, let's give her a round of applause for what she have done before.
While you're on the floor, sir, you are among the prospective.
Speak in the mic, please.
You're among the prospective. I don't know anything about the the building up the party as yet. But you've said something before, and not that I'm trying to condemn what you've said, but it's good to have local knowledge to strengthen what you're saying.
Yes.
Now, one of the reasons why Scotland Yard is here, or Scotland Yard comes to Montserrat to do investigation and bringing in expatriate commissioners. I want you to, I'm not in favor of that, but as it stands now, I would make a point and urge you to have some investigation done. Long ago.
You mean research?
Yeah, research or investigation or whatever. Long ago, I don't know how often you used to see Scotland Yard come to Montserrat. Probably once in a while. And there were big crimes committed all Western Old Town. People were killed and so forth. What happens now is that the police force, and I often feel that I'm still a police. I don't know, the police service now needs real restructuring. It needs upgrading to a standard which, when you see them, you can feel good. Well, yes. But as it stands now, I've noticed that they have completely cut off initial training in Montserrat. And what you have is that a group of students come from overseas, and they're trained at Salem Station for 6 months. And when that course is completed, by the time the course is completed, about 3 months into the other course, 6 of them, if 12 came in, 6 of them resigned. And cast aspersions on the head of the police force. I know that because they have spoken to me and said they don't know where they're going here, they ain't ready yet. Because those 12 men who came in, they are the instructors for people who they're recruiting. If you check it back, you'll see for yourself. When last you see a police batch leave here and go to Antigua, Barbados, or where for initial training, so that when you come back, you feel brand new, and even though you have relatives, you have a mind of your own where you want to act. But they train you in conditions here where they have, we used to call it old police and slack police. They train you there. So what you have is a slack police coming out as a recruit. They cannot investigate even a good traffic accident or bad word or indecent language. So how could we put them into a white-collar crime? I'll give an example. One day I saw a lady at the bank, a woman police. I said, what's wrong with you? He said, they sent her to investigate the theft of $800. I said, well, have you done a paper trail? She asked me, what you call so? Now I felt so embarrassed. And she had over a year training and does not know what it. I said, so I'm saying, well, look, man, something is wrong. A simple paper trail, she couldn't even go to the banks or business places and find out the uses. And the ferry was running, and somebody leave here in the morning with $800. And they did not even know what to do to call a spot check on the ferry. So when a certain man came here as an investor, they did not send for Scotland Yard. Not because it's me, but I investigated it and arrested the man. But, and you all know, I heard about a man, he died in prison. And I was supposed to go to San Diego to give evidence, but he died, Mr. Dominelli. So, you see, it's not what people might think, because you see an expatriate police come here who might have some knowledge, maybe an ex-Scotland Yard or whatever. They used to come to Cayman Islands, and they used to come to Bermuda. But now, because they're well-trained, they can send people to Montserrat. It doesn't have to be a Scotland Yard, because we are dependent territories. And they had an agreement where people can come from one of the DDTs and help. I don't know why they switch all over to the US. But it happened. If you investigate and inquire, you'd find out that the dependent Cayman Islands, Bermuda, Cayman, and those countries can come here and assist Montserrat police who cannot make a start. So to say that they're bringing a foreign police, they all gone wrong bad. What gone bad in the morning can't go to evening.
Right.
And,
So what I want you to help me with, what I want you to help me with here, it seems like you're making the point that the police is not adequately trained from the incept.
Over 15 years now.
So what?
They're trained here.
So you're recommending that they go back to training them in Barbados? That's what you're recommending?
Or somewhere else that have an established training school off of the compound, because they have been trained in Salem Station, where they have a man coming along and say, man, what if you do? And they're not setting an example, they're training in old conditions.
So you're saying this is where we have to start with the succession planning, with proper training.
Exactly so. And what they're saying now, what a former commissioner is saying, I'm trying to save $20,000 a student so that the government Montserrat can get it. And it's not Montserrat money. I worked in Barbados for 7 years, and it's the British Development Division, as they used to call it, used to pay the students training fees. So trying to save, you could save money to help Montserrat to do what? To make them inefficient and make the people of Montserrat have to accuse the police that when you call them 2 days after that, when somebody done cut your bananas, they come 2 days after. This is wrong. You approach a person with a simple traffic accident, and the way they go to the person is like they're scared. There's nothing wrong with saying, good morning, sir, if the person might not be up to the standard which you want to call it, but address everybody properly. If you leave here tomorrow or tonight and go to any police officers, you will see that the way how they address you. I'm always saying that you should address people properly. Kind words bring back kind echoes. You go to a person hostile, and obviously they're going to get back to you hostile. You come to me good, and you have to think twice to come to me. So in order to enforce the law, have proper trained police in Montserrat. Unless you do that, we're going to still be here. They send them to walk the street 2-3 times, 3 of them together, and something happens and they don't know how to act and what to do. No, it's true. I'm not criticizing that, because I love the police force. I love it.
And since you're on the mic, would you be willing to assist them if they ask you to?
When I left Barbados, I brought my manuals, my files, as for training, and they're home, and I don't want to do it. I can give them for them to look and train. As a matter of fact, I set up a training service in Harris's police station. And when I started training, they told one corporal said, if I think this is a secondary school, we're giving them maths and English to do. And I felt bad, because I'm trying whatever little knowledge I have, and with outsiders, to help to build the force. I was criticizing and saying I'm trying to establish. Police force supposed to be highly intelligent. You are ambassador out there. Somebody should come and ask you, so-and-so and so-and-so, officer, how should I do this, or what is the case may be? If you can't respond and you don't know what, it doesn't make any difference.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your input, Mr. James. Give him a round of applause. Okay, any other takers? Any other takers? Daphne, you coming back? Iceman, you coming? Okay, the mic.
Now, over the years, we've seen flow and we've seen DDSL. And for hours and hours and days, you have no service. At the end of the month, your bill remains the same. I believe it's time we get a pay-as-you-go system, where when the Wi-Fi doesn't work, you don't get paid. When the phone doesn't work, you don't get paid. Because why should you charge me $129 a month for Wi-Fi when for days and days it doesn't work? I think the government needs to put a regulation in that you charge me by some figure as to what I consume.
By usage?
Yes. Rather than you, for some reason, you're not on for days and days and days, but come month end, your bill is still the same.
Well,
you can,
and to add to that, if you're late, you still get a late fee on top of that.
Exactly. So they're winning twice. They're winning twice. And even for MUL, I live in England for a while, give me a card, let me go and put on money for my electric. And not give me a bill at the end of the month. When you cut off the bill, the current, send a man, because you're engineer, electrical engineer, when the power come back and surge, it must drive the meter beyond in madness. Then therefore, your bill is inaccurate. You're not been charged. And all the fuel church such as business. And again, where in the world else pay $20 a gallon for petrol? Oh God. Merciful God. Nobody, so it's only Nevis. Did you say we get gas from? We can't go nowhere else and get a cheaper rate of gas for us, or they just don't care about people. Because I go to Antigua and a 20 pound in Antigua costs $27, $30, and down here it costs 40 yard, nearly $50.
I missed that. What?
A 20 pound gas cylinder.
Oh, okay.
100 pound cost in Antigua costs just over $100. Down here you need a mortgage to get it.
200.
We need a ease, oh Lord. We don't know if them people here realize that they're putting the people under so much pressure. You are elected to work for the people. You see my shoes here? I'm a dead uncle, give me. Me no have nothing. My pants and my last jeans pant me have. My shirt from PWD days. Them run me to nothing. Them run me to nothing. So me want to know the future of Montserrat, if it's going to be better in the next 6, 7, 8 months. Because when this tear up, me naked, you know. Me naked. It's a ham-road shoes, with dead uncle shoes. I give me before he dead. And we need a better, and when it comes to colonial masters, I don't like that word at all. We want my politicians have more autonomy over the system. Why should I go and vote for my government, and after voting them in, they can say, well, save Jonathan or save Carol. Carol, I'm a good voter. You support PDM, so make you one job. This has to happen still. Otherwise, it makes no sense to vote again. You must have the attitude to say, hey, I'm a cousin, I'm a friend, I'm a such. Me nah let you send me home. As it stands, Sarah have the knife and civil servants have the blade. And over 1,000 civil servants are under pressure to operate like all is well. When to the truth of it, all is not well. But afraid to talk out. A civil service of this magnitude should be able to stand up and say, this is not right. This is not right. But you know what? Everybody hides their hand. Hides their hand. And when one fall, 1,000 could fall the same way. Time to come. And there are many people in the civil service who are visually impaired too, but they're afraid to go and say, may I go eye doctor in Antigua, Because they're afraid they get sent home with their mortgage. Allow us to have our free checkups and get evaluated and we know where we are rather than staying in a job in front of computer all day, 5 days a week. I got dim, but I'm afraid to say that I got dim. Because I'm afraid to be medically boarded and sent home and left for dead. Mr. Lewis, we need our lives back. I feel stripped naked here. I feel stripped to the bones here. Because you asked a question earlier on, what are the major issues? We lack leadership. We lack leadership. Everything happening here, them man just sit down and lay happen like, you know what? Me good to go now. My fridge full of food, me car high in gas, I'm in a care about none of you. That is basically what they're saying to me. It's straightforward. And one of the reasons civil servants can't speak out, because they're afraid that Lindell call them and tell them, hey, shut up or go along home. So they're under pressure. But because of the clause and the laws that govern civil servants, plenty not say nothing. They're like sheep in the pasture. When dog hold them short, they lie them and dead. We need something done. We need something done. Me want a brighter day. Me want one brighter day. Please, please go up on our behalf. Seek God for a brighter day for Montserrat. Please and thank you.
Yes, give Iceman a round of applause and I'll... Yes, you raised several issues, the Iceman. Let me start with the hostile policies, and you're talking about like general orders that speak to these policies been around for what? Sorry? Oh, you wanna?
Yes, I'm Asian.
Speak in the mic, please.
Yeah, I'm Asian. Friday when me was by close to the bank credit union, I get a lady give me to come in for the meeting. Me come late. I'm sorry about that because I've meeting by my church. Me finish late after 6 o'clock because me come late. Some question I want to say. I'm not speaking English properly.
That's okay. I'll be trying to understand you.
Some people in Montserrat have bad attitude. Some of them. Somebody find a coming in Montserrat, they have bad mind about them. When you get residence, you get paper, they have something, or somebody to come in to pick up something, to go in next island. If Montserrat, if they come poor, they not come for nothing, they get opportunity to go where? You know, all the country, if you don't have up and down, you cannot go up. Somebody going, somebody coming, country walking up. If you have bad attitude like that, people go. Nobody in there. Who going to make it build up the country? Tell me. All the country supposed to have up and down. Come in, go. Not everybody going. Some want to go, they go. Some people want to build, they build. They live. You know? They're supposed to change their mind. If they have some bad mind like that, their country never advance. You know, they're racist for something. You need some land to do your house. They have it for long. You cannot get it. Leave it there. They don't want to do nothing for that. Why the country going to go up? They're supposed to change their mind. Yes, their government supposed to change their mind. People coming, people gone. Next people coming back to build up the country. Yes, they're supposed to change mind completely. That's why everybody supposed, yes, like that, I want to say. After that, the next story, one Asian coming, they don't have no school to go, they're going big. When they come in, they're going looking for work. Little bit, they look understand English a little bit, because sometimes you work 3 times one day. Me work 2 times a day. I have 4 children. I suppose look for them. I suppose I'm 40 years old. I suppose looking for the place to live, not with every time, you know? If you get residence, you application for naturalization, they get interview, they say you're not talking English properly, you're not writing English properly, you're not going to school, you come too old. Which school we going? No way. You know? They cannot supposed to do that. It not make sense. My children come in, they come in by 12 years old, 11 years old, they're going to school, they're going to naturalization, they have good English, they're supposed to know everything. Me already big, me not go to school, what am going to know? Nothing.
Okay.
Yes,
All
that's
right.
why.
Thank you. Before you go, tell me your name. What's?
My name is
Jesula Pierre.
Yes.
How long you been here?
10 years old.
You've been here for 10 years?
Yes.
Jesula Pierre. Okay,
Yes.
thank you, Jesula. Okay. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about that a little bit. PDM has a motto, people first, right? We put people first because we believe that nothing happens without people. No growth, no life, no food, nothing, right? So the first consideration always is people. What you will see every time what you will hear every time you come to a PDM meeting or you talk to somebody on PDM, you'll hear them talk, you'll hear us talk first about people. How people feel, how people are living, what people are doing, and so on and so forth. I want to take us back a little bit to 1995. Tell a quick story. I had left Montserrat. I used to work for the tourist board. I got in trouble with general orders and they fired me. The government fired me because I wrote things that the Minister of Education and Health didn't like, and they fired me. So anyway, I went back to school, went off to the US to do my master's degree. I was in exams in July. Somebody called me and tell me, Shirley, volcano. What? Couldn't even understand. The volcano had erupted. I want us to consider that. I was in the middle of exams. I don't know what time the date was. And the one thing that I remember thinking is, okay, what happens to me now? I don't belong anywhere. I don't have no place to go back to. And I still feel that thing in my stomach when I think about this. You don't belong anywhere, you don't have anybody, you don't have no home. I could never go back to Montserrat. That's what I thought. I came back to Montserrat in 2013, end of 2013, 2014. Worked with PDM, got elected, we got them elected, 7 people out of 9. Did a really, really good job, which is what I'm asking us to do again this year. Let me just say, do a really good job and get 7 people out of 9 elected. And in 2015, it was the 20th anniversary, 20th commemoration of the volcanic eruptions. I want to tell you 2 quick stories about what happened then. One night, in a conversation in PDM, we were talking about the eruptions and how people were feeling, right? One man said to me, he's from Stratums, he said one night there was an eruption. Those of you who don't know Montserrat, you might not know where Stratums is. But the point is, at that time, Stratums was a midpoint between, town. If you want to come to the north, to safety, your options were go to town and possibly get blown up, or come to the airport and possibly get blown up. You didn't have much of a choice, right? And they were getting in the vehicle. There was the eruption. And this man went into his pickup truck. Everybody planned in the back of the man's pickup truck. And the man couldn't figure out how to start the pickup truck. So he jumped out, left his truck, got in somebody else's car, and came to St. John's. We laughed. And then thought, it's really not funny. The man panicked, right? The other story I want to tell you is in 2016, again, this was after the election, we did a commemoration in June, July for the 20th anniversary. And one of the things that we did was march past at the at the football field. And then there was food at the park. When I came to the park, I met a Jamaican woman, and she told me, Miss Osborne, I need to tell you something. She said, I've been here since 2003, and I only now understand what Montserratians went through. She told me, I cried this morning up at the park because finally I understood the pain that Montserratians felt at not having anything left, right? So what I want to say to you, all of you, is bear in mind that we all have the same history from 400 years ago, where we were taught to hate each other, to fight against each other, to tell the white man on one another. We were programmed that way. It's in us. It's in our cultures, all from Haiti, from Cuba all the way down. Colombia, Brazil, America, we've all been trained the same way to hate one another. So we have that. Then also consider that Montserrat lost everything. We lost everything. We lost people, we lost homes, we lost land, we lost our culture, we lost everything. Yeah? Now when you feel that kind of pain, it's kind of hard to reach out to somebody. What happens is you begin to worry that somebody's going to take away what you have. You begin to worry about losing what little you have. And it brings out the worst in us. That's the best I can tell you. It does. Right? So what I'm saying is, in the 25, 28 years that we've been here since the volcano, we've had you come amongst us to help us regrow, to help us rebuild, to help us build a country again, a community, right? But we need some grace. It doesn't just go away right away. We have history and we have recent loss and grief. My grandmother, I left the United States in 1997, got on a plane, came to Antigua, got on the ferry, landed around about now, went to my grandmother's house, packed her up, and the very next morning, we were on a flight out of here. The only place she'd ever gone from Montserrat was to Antigua, and she broke her leg after Hurricane Hugo, actually. She didn't want to go anywhere. My grandmother died there. She's buried in Boston. She died in January 1998. Cold Boston. She didn't want to be there. She wanted to be buried here next to Dada, her husband, who's buried out in Salem, right? So I know you feel pain. I know they push you. I know you're pushing. But the point is, we have to give each other grace. Montserratians are obliged to accommodate and help and support, and we are willing to do that as much as we can. But we don't all have the skills. Some of us do, and eventually more and more of us will do, right? We don't all have the foundation. We don't all have the vision. We don't all have the heart, right? We're not all raised the same way. So some people are going to be really mean. They have mean people all over the world anyway, right? Some people are going to be like that. Some people are going to be loving and kind and careful, right? You will find those. There are many of us like that. That's who we come from. That's who we used to be. That's the Montserrat we grew up in. So bear with us for a little bit. Bear with us for a little bit. Like we said, somebody said earlier, Daphne, Jabo probably, somebody said the problem with us is leadership. Montserrat needs leadership that teaches trust and compassion and love. We do not have that. We have not had that in a while. I promise you that everything I could possibly do with this government to ensure that we begin to build compassion and joy and love for one another, I will do. I promise you that. I can't promise everybody will do it, but I promise you'll have leadership who will do that. All right? So bear with us for a while. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Shirley. I can't remember your name, but you were very passionate earlier. Let me ask you a question, because I'm getting some information. You're naturalized? Yes. Your husband is here? Yes. My family is right. Okay, I didn't think I get the information properly. So what I'm asking you to do, after the meeting, could you just meet me after the meeting so I could try to understand better what you were saying? Because to be honest, I didn't think I quite get it, and somebody has got it half the way because they thought you were saying your husband not here, you're trying to get it. So after the meeting, right? So after the meeting, you'll speak to us. So. Yeah, so, right. So I'm going to speak to you and your husband one-on-one, right, afterwards. Right? Okay, back to Iceman now. Iceman was speaking to some hostile, what we call rules, policies, like the general orders. And he's correct. The only way this is going to change is if the government or the day or another government change these rules, amend these rules. These rules have been there for... They've been there. Some in the case of the general orders, I think that need a total wipeout, right? So I say change in that case. Others need upgrading, and as you said, we could speak until the cows come home if we don't make a decision to change the rules. That's why you have legislators. That's why we are legislators, and that's why you vote for us. Not because I mean. You couldn't vote for other people. You vote for us to legislate. So we must legislate. Where we see that something is hurting our people, we have to be prepared to amend the law, and in some cases amend policies. And in the case of general orders, that need a total throughout, right? So he made some good points. I think he made another point about, I'm trying to recall, the price of gasoline and the price of the, I think cooking gas? The cooking gas, right. We have been debating that for some while, and there's one idea on the table about the government taking less in terms of the taxes and so forth. That seems to be just an ongoing thing. We never really hear back from the government on that, but it seems like there's no willpower to come back and address the matter from that angle. But we're going to have to find a way around it, because you just can't continue. The gas keep going higher and higher, and people have to buy it because people have to drive. So we're going to have to find a way. We have to sit down and find a way around that one. What was the other point, Iceman? I think it was... Oh, yes. He was saying that all of us would have experienced it, because I experienced it myself sometimes. You pay for internet, and like 3 days you're not having an internet. The other 3 days just spinning. But at the end of the month, if you don't go in time, you still get a late fee. And you still pay the bill that was there. You're not going to get a reduced bill, because it's not like it's metered. It's not metered. And I think that's one of the areas that one has to sit down with the telcos and address. We're going to address. We can't sit down by ourselves and deal with that. You're going to have to sit down with the telcos and deal with that. Because when people pay the money, they deserve to get the service. And they have the rights, and within the rights to make a complaint if they're not getting the service. But the telcos may have other issues that I'm not aware about. So if you sit down with them and sit down with the stakeholders, let them tell us what the issues are, as you're telling us, so we could resolve the matter going forward. Did I miss anything else? That's it, basically.
General order, sir, is not binding. As Ms. Shirley husband, there's a way of getting around it when he spoke about his classes. And this is why 3 individuals in Montserrat sued the government on general orders, and won. I was the first person, Mr. Clark Gerald was the second person. There's another person that sued the government on general orders. It's not binding in law.
Yeah, it's not binding. You're correct on that. You're correct on that. Look, it's getting a bit late, and I want to give persons, if you have any other issues you want to raise, and this is your chance. This is your chance to raise.
One last one. And this last one, it ties into something that Shirley spoke about having an overall plan and then working downwards. Someone spoke about jobs for people in Montserrat. And I happen to know the gentleman who works with Labour is not here.
Oh, he left. He had to go.
But he would tell you that they look for people for work and sometimes they can't fill them. So it's not that we don't have any work. Sometimes we don't have any workers, but we are not training people for the things that we need.
I'm happy that
and that is something that we need to look at. What if you have that overall vision and you know all of the things that you need, then how are you training your population to fill the positions that you now will need?
I like your point. Don't move from the microphone. I like your point. As I said, the lady was passionate. I didn't get everything she was saying, but it seemed like she was saying at age 40, she would like to be trained, but she said the opportunity is not there. The opportunity is not there, and she's just one example, because there are a lot of people who speak English who are Montserratians too, who are not Montserratians, who, well, of course, they might have missed out in school, but there's always second and third chances. And what they're saying, when it comes to adult education, we have to look at the people who we have, We can't pretend that we have everybody that has degree and all levels and all this. So we have to look at who we have. And if we're all inclusive and put people first, it means that we have to look at these people too. And what we probably need to do is to have a registry, have people write their name down, what they do now, and the areas that they will need training in going forward, so that we have an idea, so we could know, well, there are 5 persons want to be training this, 5 persons want to be training that. Because sometimes, to be honest, you might be willing, but you just don't know what these people want you training in. So I think that might be the way to go, that we encourage persons to register what they do presently, what skill set they have presently. Don't feel bad if you don't have the formal qualifications. Just let us know what kind of skills training you like to get going forward. Because it's important that we're all inclusive and we look out for each other.
But it's not just what skills do you want to be trained in. Because I might want to be trained as a pilot.
Right.
But do we have a need for a pilot? It's what do we need here? Therefore, what skills do we need to make sure that we train people for?
And that's why you said the plan, the overall plan, because it's not just what you need now. Because if you plan forward, it's what you need now and what you might need in the future. So point well taken.
Okay.
That's why you're a teacher.
So now you're going to come with that overall plan after you listen to everything that everyone says and you look at all the different things.
Let me correct you on that. Not you, we, including you. So you have just put your hand up to be part of drafting up the plan.
Okay, we, whoever,
yes,
are going to come with a plan after listening to what everybody says and have what are the things that we're going to need to ensure that we achieve that plan.
Right, agree 100%, yes.
Yes, and then you say, this is what I want to do. Right, Daphne? Yes. Okay, good.
Yes, any takers? Going once? Oh, you want to say something? No, you have to go to the mic.
Good night.
Good night.
My name is Eldino Prophet. Only one question I want to ask you. Is Montserrat water is safe to drink? Because since I come in Montserrat, because I never see they say I'm gonna treat it, the water, don't drink it for 1 hour, or I never hear that. Because when they treated it, they're supposed to announce the population don't drink it maybe for 1 hour or 30 minutes. Because when you put the thing on it and people still drink it at the same time, I think it wasn't good.
Okay, sir. Thanks for your question. As far as I know, to my knowledge, it is safe for drinking. There is always room for improvement, and I believe that even though it's safe for drinking, we can always strive to improve on it. And I believe that the persons that are responsible, that they know what the status is at this time, they know the quality, and they know what they need to do to raise the quality to a higher level. Because there's always room for improvement, and we should always strive to improve our product. But indeed, it is safe as far as I know. Yes, any takers? I'm not hearing anything from the turtle. Turtle, any takers? Okay, we're not going to deport you, so... Okay, so the point Mr. Turtle is making. What's your correct name again? Mr. Turtle. He's comfortable with Mr. Turtle. The point Turtle is making is that the point he's making is that he's saying, regardless to where you're from, we are all one, and person should be able to express the opinion without anybody pointing fingers at them or targeting them. And it's a very good point because we are all one, and Montserrat need everybody that's here tonight and everybody that lives in Montserrat. We actually need more people, right? Because we need to improve the population. But we would have to treat everybody here now as one if we want to encourage them to ask others to come. Because people will speak based on the treatment that they're getting. So the point he's making is that because we're here and we are one and we put people first, we should encourage people to speak openly. Sometimes they'll say something that we may not agree with, but that doesn't mean that they don't have the right to speak openly, and that we should embrace everybody and learn to disagree to agree, so to speak, without having anything personal against anyone. And that's a very good point. Give Turtle a round of applause on that point. Yes, so if there's no other takers, go ahead. Mike. Go, Iceman, go ahead.
I soon go home.
Yeah, go ahead.
We see that people around the world having difficulties where they're from. So I bring it home down to my neighboring islands, the Haitians. Oh God, what they want to come 19 of them from war-torn Haiti, from Gonaive, don't they get killed? They don't get murder them. And 19 come here to forget to help you. And then deport them. That's one wickedness. If you're trying to build population, you vet them, you check them for health issues, and give them a chance. Come demonstrations in Jamaica, you know. Some are in Haiti, some are in Spain, Italy, Germany. So why take 19 Haitians where they try to save their life from dying down in a war-torn Haiti and pack them and send them back? And them are the ones who walk the land, you know. They walk the land, them strong walk the land. The policies here by deporting baby and mother and a wickedness. Because the Haitians have no cause to be treated this way. They were once good people living good. And for some reason, with their mother country, France, they end up being on their own, fighting. And 19 reach here, and then deport them. And Honorable Paul, we need policies in place that when people come here like that, you vet them medically, you vet them criminally, and make sure they're all right, and tell them, go ahead, go try to live a life. Why send them back to war-torn Haiti to go die? The blood of these people are on the hands of the government of Montserrat. They deserve a chance to better themselves, the Haitian people, and all others. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yes, well, Iceman is making an important point, is that...
Can I end that by saying the problem that we have is that we have forgotten history.
Yes, history is important, and he's making an important point that we have to be careful how we treat to each other, and especially when we speak to being one family in the Caribbean, we must also remember that sometimes you're up, sometimes you're down. Today for them, tomorrow for us. So we have to look at how we treat each other in their times of needs, because one day we may need them too. So it's a good point to end. It's a good point. Look out for brothers and sisters. That's a very good point. So I want to thank you all for coming again. And thank you for taking some time out of your busy schedules. And I want you to have a safe ride home. Yes.